I step into the ring, it's really important that I can look across the ring and see my opponent and know that I'm ready and I'm there to win. And to get that feeling, I have to know that I put in all the work to get there. I have to know that I did everything I could to be the winner after that fight. I have to know that I did all the road work my coach wanted me to do, that I did all the sparring he wanted me to do, that every single morning he asked me to be at the gym, I was there. And the people in this gym who sometimes, they'll win their competition and they'll be going on to the next level with me, or sometimes they won't win their competition and they'll be staying home while I go to that next tournament, but they're still there every single day training with me, encouraging me, being that sparring partner for me when they don't have to be in there because their season's over or whatever. They're still there, putting the work in so that I could be successful. And that's huge. Having good relationships, in training and outside of training is very important. I always think about, the years that I was living at home and preparing to be a champion. My family would really respect the fact that I was training in the morning, and when I'm going to bed at like 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, and I have 4 siblings, I'm hearing them downstairs like, "Shh, quiet, Mary's going to bed," and that was huge. That was really great to have that kind of relationship with my family, and also with my friends. My friends would never invite me to go out late at night and have fun, do whatever they were doing, because they knew that I had to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and that was my dream, and it meant something to them as well, and they showed that by being supportive of me and not trying to distract me from my goal and from my dream. So there's a lot of things that come into play so that when I step to the ropes and I'm in that corner looking across the ring, I know that I'm ready and that I'm prepared and able to win that fight. A lot of respect comes into play because I have to be able to trust my coach and know that he's doing his best job and respect that and do what he asks me to do, even if sometimes it doesn't make sense to me or I don't feel like doing it. I really have to have that respect for him. It's a mutual respect because he knows that I'm going to put in the effort, and that's why he's putting time into it, into me, and getting me to the point where I can be my best. My very first World Championship in 2005, I was getting ready to compete in Russia. And I was really excited. I was training very hard. I was going to be, relatively new on the international scene. I'd never saw the current world champion fight or anything like that, and I was really looking forward to it. Getting prepared, and a week before we were supposed to leave, we got a phone call from Boxing Canada that had been canceled, and that really hurts. When you're getting so ready and you're on your diet, you're doing your road work, you're training so hard, you're mentally prepared, you're almost packing your bags ready to go, and you find out that it's been canceled. And nobody said, it's been postponed. They said it's off, it's not happening. And that was really frustrating. It was really hard to deal with at first, but it didn't take very long to just switch the mind frame that I had and that my coach had, and just say, you know what? We need to train and we need to prepare as if we're going next week, because maybe there's a 1% chance that we might get a phone call and somebody might say, you know what, things turned around and it's happening, and we need to be prepared. We can't miss a beat. We have to be prepared as if we're going next week, the same as we've been doing for the last 2 years getting ready for this World Championship. So we did that, and for a lot of people, a lot of these boxers all around the world even, it was really hard to continue to train when, as far as we were concerned, there was no World Championship anymore. So a lot of people took time off, and we just saw that as an opportunity to be preparing while some of my potential opponents were resting, were feeling bad because it wasn't going to happen. And so we did that. That same day we were at the gym training as if we were fighting these girls next week. And 2 weeks later we got a phone call. We're like, you know what? Funny thing, we have a World Championship date. It's going to be in a week. You guys are going to be flying out in 5 days. Are you ready to go? Yeah, we're ready to go. So they flew us to a different city in Russia. We competed in the World Championship. That's where I won my first World Championship, was named Best Boxer of the tournament. I began mental preparation months, even sometimes years in advance of a competition. And it's playing it over and over in my head. And I get really detailed when it comes to imagery. I see everything that's going to happen in the fight, not just, punches coming at me and slipping, because I do that in the ring, but I imagine, walking to the ring, going through the ropes, seeing my opponent, seeing their coach, seeing their fans, hearing their fans, watching the referee come up to me and check my gloves. I imagine all of those small details because I know that it's going to be an unfamiliar event, going up against a new opponent or whatever, and so I have to play that over and over and over again to get familiar with it. I sometimes get a piece of paper and a pen and write down reasons why I'm going to win this tournament. I'm going to win this tournament because every day for the last 7 months I've gotten up and gone to the track and did my sprints until my legs wanted to fall off. And I write down all of the different reasons why I'm going to win, and I just constantly put it through my head. It's definitely okay to feel nervous. I learned that at a very young age in my boxing career. I was nervous going to every competition, and I asked some of the veterans on my team, are you guys still nervous? Some of these girls had over 100 fights at the time, and they're like, yeah, are you kidding me? It's because we care. And then I realized that was why I was nervous also. It was because I really cared how I performed. I put a lot of effort into it, and then I was able to use those same reasons as encouragement and a confidence builder for me going into the ring. I think the most effective thing that I've been able to do throughout my career is immediately turning a negative situation into a positive one. I think that's huge. I think that's what it takes to be successful. It's going to make the difference of having an amazing career or one that ends too soon. Every single time I step in the ring, I feel fear leading up to that point. I always, I'm getting ready for it. The morning of the fight, I wake up and I feel that fear right away. But with experience, I've realized that a little bit of fear is fine. And I say a little bit, but I mean sometimes I want to get sick. Mm-hmm. When I first started boxing, I hated the nerves that I would feel before competing. I felt like, this is awful. I feel like maybe I'm not able to do this. Maybe this is too hard for me. And then I started to realize after, some good experiences, after feeling like that it was a good thing. I talked to other boxers who are more experienced, and they're like, if you don't feel that nervous energy, then maybe you don't care about it enough. The harder I trained, the more nervous I would feel going into a competition until I stepped through those ropes. And that was, mainly due to all the imagery that I had done for being in the ring. But, I realized that I had to remind myself every time I was going to compete that I did everything I could to do my best.